She didn't believe me. Later that day I wanted to play outside and she told me to go take a nap and I did. When I woke up all my siblings were surrounded around me. I told my sister to go get me an ice cream and she deadass sprinted to the freezer and got me an ice cream. 3 days later I could finally go back to school. I was at lunch and a little bit of blood went through my bandage and kids started running around and panicking. A girl literally fainted. Later that night my mom took me to Claire and we spent $250 on headbands to cover it up. Nobody ever messed with me again. When I was in the 3rd grade I was playing tag and this little kindergartner came running around the corner. We bumped heads and I fell. And no joke, this bitch literally stuck her teeth into my head. I didn't cry until I realized I was bleeding. Like a lot. My friend took me to the nurse. I walked by my sister in the dining hall and she decided to walk me to the nurse instead of my friend. We started walking up the stairs to get to the nurse. And she deadass fainted. So I crawled up the stairs and instead of talking about my head I told her that my sister passed out on the stairs. She looked at me and gave me an ice pack. She wasn't going to call my mom but then my other sister walked in and said, and I quote, "You dumb bitch, you best call my mom or so help me I'll rip those crooked ears off your fat head." She walked over to her desk terrified and called my mom. I waited for like 30 minutes cause we lived in a different town than the school I went to. When my mom got there she looked petrified. I told her that I was fine but she didn't believe me. Later that day Here's my story. So one time in the 1st grade I felt the need to go poop. So I went to the bathroom and started trying to go poop. But I was extremely constipated and I was in there for like 20 minutes and still nothing came out but I still had to go poop so bad so I took my hand and I dug the poop out with my hand and it was absolutely disgusting. All of a sudden one of my classmates comes in the bathroom and she said, "EWW, it stinks in here." Anyways, I tried to wipe all of the poop off of my hand with the toilet paper and I walked outside to wash my hands and I saw that there was still poop on my hands. Anyways, I washed it off and then washed my hands like 10 more times and I went back to class. I was a very strange kid. SMH woman face palming. In 3rd grade this guy that sat next to me had a pencil sharpener so I asked if I can borrow it. He said yes, so then I took it out of his hands and sharpened my pencil, grinning face with normal eyes. Then he took the pencil sharpener back and grabbed another pencil and stabbed me with it. So I got my pencil and stabbed him twice, grinning face with normal eyes. Then we kept stabbing each other with the pencil until I accidentally made him bleed, grinning face with normal eyes. He was gonna tell the teacher but I lied to her and told the teacher he stabbed himself, so she talked to his parents and he got in trouble for stabbing himself, grinning face with normal eyes. One time I was on a boat with one of my friends. She's not my friend anymore and I really had to go to number 2, so she told her dad and her dad told me to use the toilet, which was basically a toilet-like shape with a bag that I went to the bathrooms in the storage of the boat, so I did, and after we got back her brother had to run the bag with my poop in it to a garbage can, which was just very embarrassing. LMAO. There was a group chat with the whole entire class in 7th grade. I asked if I could add this girl that group chat that used to go to the school. Please keep in mind that she was a literal bitch to everyone. And I got along with her long after her leaving the school. The person that created the group chat said sure. So I added her. Everyone was shit talking her. As soon as I added her she then began to talk shit back and add her friends to the group. Her friends were cussing everyone out. Later, she added her boyfriend and her boyfriend were one of those wannabe ghetto kids and sent pictures of his gun to the group chat and said he was gonna shoot up our school. He private messaged my friend and told her things he would do to our school. Me, scared as fuck, emailed my homeroom teacher, and next thing you know, my mom gets a phone call from the police asking a bunch of questions about the incident. The next day, it was Monday, I was called to the office in my first period. The principal told me I did the right thing and asked me many more questions about the incident. When I went back to class, everyone was blaming everything on me and I low-key really felt guilty and wanted. Okay, so one time in year 6 I was playing tag with my friends. When I was watching my friend tag other girl, I farted but then realized I shit my pants and it was really bad. I ran to the bathroom and there was so much shit in my undies I had to chuck then in the bin, but I accidentally dropped them on the ground and all the poo fell out, so I left them there and there was no toilet paper, so I got up and left with no undies and poo still everywhere on my bum. But before I left I saw a girl walk into the same restroom I was using. I wonder what happened after the girl went in the stall. DM me on TikTok some of your stories so they can be featured on here. Anyway, in 6th grade I was eating lunch and the kids at my table were playing truth or dare, and the kid next to me dared someone to put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in their underwear, not thinking they would actually do it, and he took his peanut butter and jelly sandwich and shoved it in his underwear. When I was younger, my brother was in the army, and even though I hated him, I missed him. So when it was around time for him to come home, I was sitting in class. There was a call that I was being picked up early, and I got super excited thinking my brother was home, and my friends hugged me and everyone was super happy for me. But when I got to the front office, I found out that it wasn't my brother and that my nana had fallen at her nursing home. When I was younger, my grandma came over and she was talking about how skinny and nice my sister looked, and then she looked at me and made a disgusted face, and that was the start of when I became super self-conscious and always though everyone was making fun of my weight and talking about me behind my back.
Whoever the fuck keeps reporting my videos, you're a bitch, and I hope you trip and fall on your face. One day when before all this corona shit happened, I went to one of my friend's party. Her cousin was there and he was really big and muscular, and he was like 19 but I was only like 15. He kept staring at me but I pretended to not notice. I went into the bathroom and he followed me. He started to talk to me in the bathroom and we had a good conversation. He asked if I liked any girls. I told him I was gay and he said that he is too, but nobody knows. He asked if I could suck his ween and I said okay, why not. He nutted in like a few seconds and then told me it was his first time with a guy. The bitch then decides to carry me up and try to fuck me, but one of his cousins came in and we got caught. My friend was pissed at me and the dude denied everything because he didn't want to come out. I ended up having say some shit like I started going down on him and he didn't want to. I saved him from having to come out. I'm not friends with a girl anymore, but now I have a When I was 9 years old, my cousin was 12 years old. One day, my cousin started to act weird, like sexually weird, and I liked it. So he said to come to the hallway when everyone was asleep and everything was dark. He pulled out his peen and I gave him a bleep job and started humping me, but with no clothes on, no intercourse. Next thing you know, my other cousin, who was 1 year older than me that time, was involved too. Us three were all horny, so I made out with my other cousin when my sister was asleep, and the cousin that humped me sent me a dick pic grinning cat. So one time I was in preschool and I was at my friend's house. He's a boy and we would make out, and one time he asked if he saw me naked if I could see him naked, so I agreed. So he saw me naked and I asked why he has a snake on his vagina and he said, oh, it's a penis, and I'm like, why is his name Penis? And now I realize this boy that's now 12 might remember me and might see this. Virgin self was very curious and wanted to know what sex was like. I didn't know anyone to have sex with, so I just asked a random guy from my school. He said he was down, so I went to his house. I had to jump out of my window at 3 a.m. because I have strict parents. I was scared, but he didn't live far. He snuck me in and he looked like he knew what he was doing. We started making out for a few minutes. He finally whipped out his eggplant, and when I tell you it was smaller than my pinky, I swear that shit was so tiny. I didn't know what to do because that thing was so small. He tried to stick it in, but I didn't feel anything, so I don't really know if he took my V-card or not. Not to go into detail or anything, but it was pretty gross. He looked like he was enjoying it, but I sure wasn't. I just wanted to go. I kept trying to fake moan, but after he was done I left. One time I was beating my meat at a party, and when I was about to bust, my uncle came in and he left the room so fast. He ended up telling my mom, and my mom gave me a big lecture, and the next time we went to a party she wouldn't let me leave her side because she thought I would do it again. I can't even look at my uncle in the eyes now.
When I was 5, I was really stubborn, so my grandpa convinced my mom that I was possessed by demons and only an exorcism would get rid of them. I sat in a chair and held a trash can in my lap so I could spit my demons into the trash can. While my mother and grandparents were praying around me, later I found out I wasn't the only one whose parents he convinced was possessed. Hey guys, I'm aware the sneezing audio isn't my own, but I never claimed it was. I gave credits to the original in the comments of the video.